Okay, we're back. And we've broken up into small groups now. We're still being live streamed, and for those of you who are in the live streaming audience, what we've live streamed is actually pretty much half of what we've done today, because the day actually started with amazing artist-led workshops. We always immerse everybody in creative practice, in the creative process, in aesthetics, because we want to not just talk about the art, we really want people to understand with their bodies and with their souls and with their minds, with their feelings, the kind of risk actually that artists take when, you know, we take on a new project, when we choose a certain path in life. And that joy, too, of discovery. So we've had some amazing workshops. I see Saida Trujillo, and I've been hearing about your wonderful workshop. Dilo, who just performed, I heard about his wonderful workshop. Other people, Reggie Rock, who's going to be part of this, led an amazing workshop that actually turned into a party in the whole lobby, so that's incredible. So while we're settling down, I just wanted to say something about this workshop. It's called Artists Changing the Course of the River with Hyeon Park, Malesha Taylor, Reggie Gray, and Keba Konte. And really, you know, we subtitled this, what do a web series creator, a flex dancer, a visual artist, food entrepreneur, and an opera singer have in common? And in many ways, the 21st century has been described as this kind of DIY era of the entrepreneur. You know, that's a lot of this language about how artists should be or need to be or are being entrepreneurial. Yet for many artists, community-based artists, artists of color, you know, we have been doing this DIY thing all our lives. I mean, when a mainstream is not inclusionary, and in fact, when it excludes artists of color and others with different kinds of voices, we always create our own or have come from our own and have been sustaining that. So we're living in almost parallel universes many times. And the way the arts are developing, many of these kinds of ways of working actually intersect, actually go between the for-profit and non-profit. And so we wanted to look at artists who are creating strategies for not only their artistic expression and cultural sustainability, but also as a mode of operation to thrive. The playwright Che Yu actually once told me that, you know, with the kind of theaters, because I come from a theater practice that may not be inclusive of all our work, it's not like we're barbarians waiting at the gate, right, or waiting for an invitation. So really, you know, this is the invitation to this work. We're going to start by showing clips of each of our artists, and there's video clips, and then we're going to bring them on and have a little conversation that's going to build, and then we'll invite you also to be part of this conversation. So I'm going to start by introducing our first artist, Hyeon Park. Hyeon is a writer, editor, and filmmaker based in New York and has created this award-winning eponymous series, Hyeon Season 1 and 2. She wrote it, performed, and directed and several other short films. Also the viral video, First Kiss, which I just watched last night, which is just very moving, which was featured on the Huffington Post. And anyway, is also now working on a new web series called BKPI. So let's start with a short clip from Hyeon's series.
I just got groceries from my boss.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a personal assistant, but it's basically a glorified babysitter for a rich 30-year-old white man.
Hey.
Hey. Hi, how are you?
Hi, guys.
I'm done with the shoes. Are you okay with them?
Yeah, that looks really good. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. Okay.
You're gonna wash your hands, though, right?
Yeah, because I touched your shoes. I should wash my hands, yeah.
Is that how you're gonna do that?
I should use soap. Yes.
Yeah. You know, let me just take this opportunity to kind of show you how to do this.
I think I know how to wash
Well, yeah,
my
we'll
hands.
just think of it as like an employee sanitation training. You know, when it comes to germs, you have to picture me like a fragile pregnant woman. So just turn the water on.
Okay.
Okay. And the rule of thumb here is that you want to sing the happy birthday song twice, all the way through, and just really get in there and soak up the fingers.
Okay. Do you want to sing it right now?
Yeah.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Dun, 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 dun. Happy birthday, dear Lance.
Happy
Birthday to you.
Happy birthday to
A
you.
little slower.
Happy birthday to
you. In
Happy
between the
birthday,
fingers
dear
right there.
Lance.
Happy birthday to you. Get the fingernails. Awesome. Super good. Let's try it one more time.
Isn't it great? Ugh. We live in New York City, 2015, in a post-racial world, and social classes don't really matter that much because we're all equal, eccentric beings. Bullshit. Do you know how easy it is for me to spot the help in this neighborhood? We're mostly people of color rolling things around on wheels with things that belong to richer white people. We're the rolling classes.
Welcome, Haeyeon.
Hi, guys. Hi.
I love this. I really love this.
Thank you.
I'm always searching for new terminology, so now the rolling class is one that...
rolling class.
I
I think
really
anyone
miss.
who's ever rolled anything around that belonged to richer white people will spot each other.
I was thinking about that because my neighborhood where I live in Queens, in Jackson Heights, when I would go into work in Manhattan, I would notice that in my neighborhood, people kind of matched. Like if there was an Asian woman, there'd be an Asian baby or an Asian grandmother or whatever.
Yeah.
And they'd look pretty happy, like talking to each other. But then I'd go into Manhattan, and there'd be like a really sour-looking white person with a really attitude-looking brown or Asian person.
Yeah.
And there was that kind of mismatch, right? So talk to me about this whole take on post-racialism, because I hear that everywhere. Like, it doesn't really matter. Why are we talking about race? It's a post-racial America.
Yeah, well, first of all, with everything that's going on with young, innocent black and brown men getting killed, basically, that alone is such a proof that we are not in a post-racial world. And as an Asian American woman living in New York, it's, I think, I still so often feel invisible, and there's a lot of microaggressions thrown at us. So, yeah, I experience it on a daily basis, just whether it's through ignorance or people just well-meant gestures, but that don't really come off that way.
What's your favorite microaggression or most unfavorite microaggression you've heard? What's the one you've heard most recently?
Most recently, let me see. Well, actually, this one isn't recent, but something that sparked me to create this web series was 2 years ago. I was at a brunch party with some friends in Brooklyn, and a boyfriend of a friend just, I don't know if it was a joke or if it was a way to make his observation. I was holding my friend's white baby, and he just came in and called me, "Oh, there's our Korean au pair," and English is a second language for me, so I didn't even know what au pair meant. So it hit me hard after when I Googled what au pair meant, and it was just this, I wanted to have a conversation with him about it, how I didn't feel comfortable with it, but he got offended that I was offended and wasn't able to take a joke. So I said, okay, screw it, and I made it into a web series.
And that's the opening episode, which I really love of the first season.
Yes, I called it Brunch avec au pair. So you can check it out online if you want to.
What was interesting in that one, too, was like the white friend was the host of the party and really close friend of your characters.
Yeah.
Was very, very assertive in just being, in defending you. And so can you talk about that character, about that storyline?
It was pretty fun and therapeutic to make that episode because the baby and the parents of the baby who the actors in the episode were actual friends who were at the brunch gathering. But to me, I think while I was making that season in my personal life, I was having this journey of I want to be better at standing up for myself. And sometimes I would wish that some other people around me would stand up for me. So it was during all that struggle. So this was just one way of the hopes and the desires for allyship. And when it comes to race issues, the desire of, desiring that allyship from white friends, but not getting it.
So that part was a fantasy.
Yeah, that was a fantasy. Everybody was just uncomfortable and just kept eating their kale salad. Kale and beet salad, and that was it.
I wanted to ask you also about kind of the origins of creating the web series. I started at theater in 1979 for artists of color because I felt like as a theater director and an Asian woman, no one was going to give me an opportunity to direct or to create or do whatever, and it would be few and far between unless I did that myself. So can you talk about the DIY aspect of...
DIY, that's how we do it. I came from Korea to New York 8 years ago, and I trained hard. I knew I had something to offer as an actor and a performer, but just being who I was, an Asian American woman, genderqueer, fat, proudly fat, dresses like a toddler most of the time, People did not know what to do with me. It wasn't even about not getting good roles. There was a bit of panic whenever I would go into audition rooms. Wait a minute, we can't cast you as an Asian prostitute. What do we do? It's real, actually. So it started out of anger of, okay, I can no longer wait for something yummy to work on. So I made a short film, and I didn't go to film school, and I couldn't afford to go, so I thought, okay, I'm just going to learn as I go. And I assembled all of my struggling actor friends, and I really enjoy seeing talents in people. So, for example, the little music during the opening of each episode, that was made by my friend who is an actor, Amanda Gates Elston, but she was just kind of playing with songwriting, so she wrote that tune on her iPhone, GarageBand. And she was like, no, you should get somebody who can at least do it on a laptop, but no, who cares? So everyone who's helped me make the web series are my friends.
Very strong actors in it.
Yeah, strong acting. And I started by making a short film, but then even with that process, I was very frustrated as a struggling artist who doesn't have a lot of money, because to get your short film work seen, you have to submit to film festivals, which cost quite a lot. And then even when you get selected, you have to pay for your own flight if it's out of town. And they make you, it's almost like a mandated thing. Please make your own posters and postcards. That costs money too. So I thought, okay, what are we supposed to do? So my decision was whatever the next thing I make, I'm just going to put up online. And around that time, a lot of web series started popping up here and there. So it was inspiring to just watch what other people do and emulate and do my own thing.
Great. Well, we're going to bring out Malesha next. And Malesha Taylor is an opera singer. She has founded several nonprofits. She has been working both on the East Coast and on the West Coast, currently located in Southern California. And we found this great guerrilla opera thing on YouTube. So let's take a look.
It's actually a song about a girl who's walking down the street saying to this guy, she's teasing a guy, and she's like, "Don't I look good?"
Oh, girl, you need to teach me that. You need to teach me that. That's funny. No, it was really good. I really need somebody to sign her. She's going to on Apollo or something, because she has a real beautiful voice. Like, seriously. Really, really beautiful. I love it.
Thank you. Thank
you. You touched me from inside the store.
Have you ever been to an opera before?
No, but, I'll actually go see you.
Thank you.
And bring my daughter. She was like this.
Yes.
Yes, right? You like it? She sound nice, right?
But it's nice to bring opera to the hood, right?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
That's what we're trying to do. It's called guerrilla opera.
The gorilla opera?
Gorilla.
Oh, gorilla?
It doesn't have to be gorilla. It could be opera too,
Thank you so much.
No problem. Have a nice day. Yes.
Welcome, Malesha. You want us again?
Thank you.
So, Malesha.
Yes.
We want to hear about what you're up to.
Oh my gosh. Well, it was a journey of coming out of pain and feeling that I didn't have a place. And I chose to, instead of thinking about racism and what's wrong and my hair is natural and that's a problem and I'm too what, I just decided, why don't I just walk out the door and sing to my neighbors? This is my neighborhood. And I live here, and what's the problem? So I'm just going to walk out the door. This happened, that was literally down the street from my house. I got a friend and said, I want you to video me. And it started off first as a comedy idea. He was like, oh, let's just roll up on a roti spot, and you just bust open and be like, woo! And then we'll capture everyone laughing, and it'll be a comedy. And I was like, right. There's a reason why that's not cool to me, that it's a comedy, because it's so unlikely that I can sing opera. It's a comedy that they would, that I'm in a roti shop. What does that mean? So I just said, why don't I just genuinely sing to regular people in my neighborhood, and we'll capture whatever happens. Let it just be organic. So I went to a bodega, I went to a laundromat, I went on a bus, the subway, and on the street corner. And I just put all those together, and it ended up being in an exhibition called Cultural Fluency at Brick. So I just started thinking about what I can do with what I already have as an artist, what I already have, and being grateful for who I already am, and just saying, I am unique, I am black, I am natural, and if it doesn't work for that theater, here's my theater. These are my people. I can sing to them. And I don't need you to write me a check. I'm just going to do the art right now. And it evolved, and I started getting checks just from the universe, just, being grateful and being a part of the flow. So I had to find that flow. I had to get into me, into the zone. and accept and nurture who I was. So, yeah.
So, you know, I didn't know either of them before REMAP. We met because in our curatorial process, our different core partners and different people suggest people, and then we review their work and take a look at who they are. But Malesha, in Malesha's case, I actually kind of met her before her name came up because she wrote to us at our info at, you know, those mailboxes that you hardly ever check, and then you're like, oh my God, somebody who's written something and it's very real. And she wrote to me, or wrote to us about kind of this issue of always being considered in this emerging category, like, you know, the programs to, you know, assist people with their professional development and then audience development. If there's a kind of non-diverse organization that wants to reach out to diverse audiences. And she wrote I thought it was very gracious, but also very critically incisive. And so I said, you ought to write something for HowlRound. And she wrote a piece in HowlRound that got a lot of commentary. So you want to talk about that a little bit, about your experience or your kind of critique?
Yes. So as an artist, I did some arts administration work, always just kind of in the flow of I have a gig and I can do this job. So I took a job at a regional theater doing audience activation, which was literally the title, was audience activator. And
has anybody out there been in audience outreach, done audience activation, done anything? Just raise your hand if you've been involved in audience development programs.
Okay, wow,
so
great.
Maybe about a third of the people here.
Because I just was like, wow, okay, so it was obvious, you know, this play about Phylicia Rashad, civil rights movement. I was like, okay, I'm going to get the job, right? And I'm just going to show up. They're going to be like, great.
Check.
Next.
Check.
Yeah, I was like, if I need a job, that's the job I'm going to get. So I go in, I get the job, I'm kind of just hanging out. I'm not really aware of what is actually happening until I get closer to the end and the shows that I'm promoting are no longer black. And I still have time on the payroll, I'm still employed, and somehow I don't have any more emails. I don't have any more need to be in the office. There's no phone calls. I don't matter all of a sudden. I'm still on payroll. I'm saying, hey, do you want me to promote the next show? Yeah. ... So after a while, I was like, oh, that's really messed up, because I really thought I was an employee. I thought I was going to emerge into a new position, you know, eventually get an office. My job was remote. I was working off of my cell phone. You know, I was go to the community, go do that stuff over there, and report it back to us, and we're keeping tally. But all the tally is a part of this grant, and this grant is earmarked for outreach, and this demographic is considered outreach. This demographic is not a patron. This is an outreach program. So I was like, whoa, but it took me a minute to get it. Because I was hanging out, I was in the community, I was at Malcolm X Library, like, cool, I'm hanging out, you know, I'm at the park, this is cool, I'm hanging out, and I didn't get it. So once I got it, I said, oh my God, whoa, my whole life, I had an epiphany. So I went through some weeping, some sadness, and I wrote you, and you gave me the way to see the darkness and bring some light to it. So I wrote about it, and I wrote it took me a long time. It took me 40 edits to write that blog.
Wow.
It's on HowlRound. It's called, Is Your Theater Diverse Twice a Year?
Wow.
Twice. I didn't want to say once, but I just said twice because that's still just as weird. So 2 times, 3 times, if you're counting it at all, whatever number it is, what is that for? So I wrote about it, and now I'm working full-time in social justice. Right. So I'm really happy about that. And I'm starting to do pieces that promote artists of color and women. So that's my focus now, instead of Mozart and the same old stuff.
I one to your right.
Right. So I sought out some artists in my own neighborhood and said, let me sing your original music. Let's take your original music into the schools. Let's show kids that there are black opera singers in their neighborhood, and there's a black composer in the neighborhood, and he wrote about Langston Hughes, and it's classical music. And what's the problem? Let's expose the kids to what's real. So that's what I'm doing next.
So just coincidentally, I was at a conversation with Bay Area-based grant makers yesterday, and in one of the presentations, I was like, wait, there's Malesha. You were in a photograph with kind of an emerging leaders picture that was very diverse people.
Yes.
That was amazing to see you.
Right.
So.
Yes. So I served on the steering committee of Rising Arts Leaders of San Diego, and that picture was an ideal moment that no longer exists. Everyone that was in that picture, it was a beautifully diverse picture. We all were told, because this is the most diverse group we've ever seen, can you guys take a picture? So we took the picture, and quite literally within 2 months, all of us are no longer on that board. It just happened in life. Like, somebody left, somebody stepped down, something didn't work out, there wasn't enough work for us, there wasn't a mesh connection. And yeah, that gorgeous picture doesn't exist. If you Google right now, those folks we're not there.
Hey, Ann, did you have a question?
I have a question. The first day you went out on the streets, what was like, did you have any concerns as you were going out, or were you just excited? And what was the most surprising response you got from an audience on the street or the stores?
Yes, so it was fun. I have another clip. If you guys continue looking on YouTube, I sang in a barbershop, and I was kind of scared of that because I just rolled up and said, I'm going to sing, and they were like, okay, and they were mid in haircuts and doing things, whatever they were doing, and then they started walking up with their little cell phone, recording me, and texting friends, and it ended up being really hilarious, but yeah, I was scared. I was scared that they would say, we don't want to hear that music. Can you sing something more, that we can relate to? Or just me feeling like, am I assuming that they might not appreciate it? Am I actually creating a comedy that I don't want to be a comedy? Am I, I don't want it to be a comedy, but if it becomes a comedy, is that offensive? Is that the opposite of what I'm trying to do? So, yeah, it was awkward, but it ended up working out. Cool. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I want to definitely continue our conversation, but I want to bring on the next person, Reggie Rock Gray. And Reggie's a flex choreographer and dancer, also, an amazing community organizer and educator. We originally met when I went in to watch a rehearsal at the Park Avenue Armory when Peter Sellers was directing his work Flexin. But what was more amazing to me was, that was pretty amazing, but also looking at the competitions and productions that were based in the community that Reggie has been organizing through Dream Ring. So let's take a look at a little of the videos. I believe that was shot from the Park Avenue show, but was a promo for Jacob's Pillow. But let's, do we have that second clip, which shows some of the, yeah.
I'm walking on a dream, yeah, I want it all. The foreign cars, nice crib, bad broad. And I be necking with the team, bros over hoes. Yeah. And I be on my drive, I'm grinding hard, I'm beating down. This music, yeah, it's all I know. Up and down, but I never fall. Money getting high, yeah, it's about shack talk. Yeah, and you can never dream too big. Nah. This music is my life, it's bigger than what it is. All I know is grinding, we gon' make it quick to whining. Champagne life for dining, Prince of the city, New York's finest. Road to success, fly with it, get left. I never stress, no caliber, we the best. This music thing is all I know, so I'ma go hard. Yeah, I'm walking on a dream, I gotta thank God. I'm on a mission, you can listen, you can hear the bars. Yeah, I'm walking on a dream, yeah, I'm going far. Say I'm walking on a dream. Yeah, I'm walking on a dream. Say I'm walking on a dream. Yeah, I'm walking on a dream.
Thank you. So let's welcome Reggie Rock Gray. Yeah.
Hey guys.
Hey, Reggie.
How's everything?
Good.
All right.
So, Reggie, I'm so happy that, we met and talked in the studio, and I'm like, you know what? I really want to find out what you do, right? Yeah. What you're doing, and that's when you started talking to me about the work that you do in Brooklyn. Yeah. And I think one thing that I find really challenging always is kind of the critical understanding of our work, because even when people see certain work and even like it, they may not know anything about what it is, kind of the genre, the terms, the discipline, vocabulary. So I kind of wanted you to kind of break it down for us, if you want to tell us a little bit about Flex. And
okay, I definitely can.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, hello everybody. How's everybody doing? Hello, my panelists. How you guys are?
Hey.
All right, flexing. First thing you think about flexing, what do you think about when you say flexing? Just think about, you think about the muscle thing, right? Or you flexing on somebody or something like that, right? But it's, it's really not that, but it is kind of like when you say when you flexing on somebody, you flexing on them, like you're trying to stunt on them, or you know what I'm saying? So the whole flexing movement is a culture. It's the roots and the base is of course in Jamaica. That's the foundation. It's really embedded in the dancehall scene. It's really embedded in Brooklyn. And this guy, his name is Bruck-Up. His name is Bruck-Up. His real name is George Adams. He created this style called Bruck-Up. And when he created this style, he created it because everyone around him was doing the regular stuff. They were doing popping, they were doing breakdancing and stuff like that. And when he wanted to join this school and he wanted to get into doing all this, the popping and stuff like that, they rejected him. They told him hey, you're not good enough and stuff like that. And the reason why is because, his body was a little, he got into an accident. So his leg was a little different from everyone else's, and his body was, I guess, his arms was really long. And I guess he didn't look like everyone else. So he decided to go back and say, you know what, and this is his words, because me and him had a discussion one time. It was actually an honor to meet him after so many years. We met, and then he told me, he said, after that happened, I just wanted to just done everybody. That's what he said. I want to just done everybody. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? He's like, what? I'm asking what do you mean? He's like, well, I wanted to create my own. I wanted to just battle everybody. And aggressiveness kind of just came out of him that way through dance. So, honestly, maybe a couple of months or a couple of years down the line, that's what he did. He started battling a whole bunch of people. He got really known in Jamaica. And then that whole style and that whole feel of what he brought to Jamaica came over to New York. And when it came over to New York, it was pretty much came in the Flatbush area of New York, came all over Brooklyn. And there was this show called Flex in Brooklyn that we used to dance on. And it was a public access channel. And, it was a place for teenagers to just come and showcase their talent, singers, rappers, dancers, whatever you do. We all came to there, and it used to be so much fun, so much fun. And, we did our little dance. We had the girls there and the guys there just all doing our thing, and it was all based around this whole dancehall feel, dancehall hip-hop feel. And when I got there around 99, that was my first showcase, we got there and my crew is called Hyperactive. We were like totally different from everyone else because I guess the whole scene was in Flatbush and we came from Eastern New York. So we kind of came with a different flavor, but at the same time, the same flavor. You know what I'm saying? We came with our own creativity, but the same flavor of the whole Bruck Up feel and everything else. So, you know, at first we got accepted by the girls and stuff like that, and everyone loved us because, you know, we started dancing. That's what you got to do it for first. But then after a while, like, you know, we started developing our own styles within this whole culture of flexing. And when we started developing our styles, and people started liking it, it just became a viral thing. Like, it was just crazy. It kind of just got out of control because we didn't want everyone to take the styles that we had and, you know, and use it for themselves because we wanted to be stingy. Like, this was our stuff. Like, we don't want nobody doing this because we did this to battle the world, right, you know? Right. And then, like I said, like, after a while, like, you have no control over it. It's just like, you know, the people doing it, everyone in Brooklyn is doing it, and it became something like what Bruck Up did for Jamaica and for over here, and we did that for over here, and then now the world. So it's like when we're seeing that happen, now I look at it and I'm like, wow, like, it's just so funny how energy works, you know? Yeah,
I was on a flight and I saw a movie. It's like Flex was king.
Yeah, you know, and it's like wow. And so just to take it back just a little bit more, when we started creating these styles, we of course we wanted them for ourselves. And there's different styles, there's different pioneers. So it was myself, it was Brian, and it was one of our guys, Nugget. We started the three main styles of what you call flexing today. Now, the reason, let me just go back to why flexing got its name. Flexing got its name because of the show Flex in Brooklyn. People used to, like, the kids used to say, hey, guys, you dance on Flex in Brooklyn. I mean, and yeah, he's like, you flexing. I'm like, what do you mean flexing? I didn't know what they were talking about. But they would just say, hey, you flexing. I'm like, okay, I'm flexing, but what does that mean? But he said, you dance on Flex in Brooklyn, right? And I'm like, yeah. It's like, yeah, you know, and then the youth started calling it that, and we was like, okay, well, if that's what they call it, then we'll call it that too. So we all called it the flexing thing. And then, like I said, so going back into it, we, the styles we have, right? Like, my style is called pausing. So when I started developing my style and understanding what my style was, it was just like, okay, well, first of all, I got beat really bad in a dance battle, and it was really bad. I stress it enough. Like, every time I tell a story, it's like I want to cry. Like it was that bad. And so I got beat in a dance battle, and I was, you know, you was in school, people talk, and you just think your career's over. So I'm like, you know what? Well, I'm not going to dance no more. I'm just going to be. I want to be a scientist, you know, a computer network, and I'm just going to continue to do that. But then, like, I was just going through a whole bunch of emotions and thoughts at that time. And then, so me and my crew used to, like, play the VCR, right? And we used to press rewind and watch ourselves dance backwards and see if we can emulate that.
Oh, wow.
So when we try to emulate those different things and try to get creative and just understand our creative process, we would do things like that. So I just said, you know what? I press play and I press pause in the VCR. And then the play and pause in the VCR, it was a glitch. And it just kept glitching, and people would start moving, doing these dance moves. And I'm like, yo, like, the first thing that came to my mind was like, yo, how can I dance like that? I said, because I had to find a way to reinvent myself after that loss. You know, I had to come back. So I'm like, okay, you know what? Maybe this is going to work for me. And then I kept going. I kept trying to figure out what that glitch was and how to move like that using the foundation of the Bruck Up and the dance and that whole movement.
How technology plays this role.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I know we want to bring on Keba, but I think you also said that you might want to do some demo.
Oh, like, yeah, we have a demonstration. Yeah, y'all want to see.
All right, so.
Yeah. So today we're going to do a demo. Of course, I love the show instead of talk so much. I'm not a really good talker too much, but I like the show. So I'm going to bring out my guys, Engelbots. Hey. Give them a round of applause, guys, please.
Are they from the Bay?
They're from the Bay Area. Yes, they are.
So this is the Bay
hop on up here, guys.
Do we need to move back? Do we? Yeah. Like, don't hurt.
Now, when you see these guys, like, don't try it at home.
So do you want to introduce yourselves and say where you're from here in the Bay? All right, welcome. Thank you.
All right. got you, man. Do your thing. Yeah, set up. Just do your setup. And
Awesome.
Amen.
Whenever you're ready. It's coming, guys.
We're waiting for some music. It'll start.
Yeah. Okay, hold on. So while we're doing this, I'll tell you a little bit more about the style, right? So what these guys are going to do, they're going to do a little thing called, is what they got, well, a part of their style is bone breaking, which is a part of the flexing culture. But they also have another style, right? What you guys call yourself, call like your style?
We call our style, we call it angles. The reason why we call it angles is because we base all our moves and the way we ink on shapes. So it's like geometry. So we see dance as like a grid. So we just take different shapes and incorporate it into our body.
I'm sorry?
They can talk at the lectern. We imagine ourselves like
Oh, that's okay.
We use each other to create these figures and shapes that you might see like on a piece of paper, but we expand the idea. So we make shapes out of shapes. So that's the style we do, and it's called angle.
There you go.
Our crew is called Angle Buds. And the shirt says
That what?
Right?
Okay. All right. So you guys, they actually don't have your track. They want Reggie to go talk to Taran to get the track.
Got
But you all hold on a few minutes while we get the track. So maybe if we can bring out Kept.
Yeah, you got it right there. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
So you three go
Okay, yeah,
talk to him.
handle that.
Sorry, this is a little bit improvised, as you can tell. I don't know if there's two other audience members who want to come up. No. But okay. So while they're figuring that out, they got it. It's telephone. It's so great. Smartphones. Yes. See, no one is going to try to fill this right now because it's too. The moment they said about bone breaking, you know. All right.
You better not ring, too.
All right. Well, while we're waiting, Malesha, did you have a question you wanted to ask?
Yes, I was thinking about microaggressions and feeling, the work that you're doing with the rolling class. And when we have these emotions and feelings with friends, do you find that you want to educate people and say, hey, that was hurtful to me? Or what you just said, I'm not feeling it. Or like the guy you were working for, did you ever come to a point where you could have said, I'm not feeling this relationship right now. Let's reevaluate how we work together.
Yeah.
Did you ever come to that?
I do, not with, so most of my episodes are semi-autobiographical, and that hand-washing thing actually did happen with a gentleman that I work for. I only take the time and energy to have a conversation if I deeply care for them, because it's not my job to school them. But I do have a lot of white friends and even people of color, friends who like to have that conversation with me because I will never shut up about inclusivity and diversity in media and arts. So it depends. If I have the energy, I will get into it. But it's exhausting, guys. It's exhausting.
Yep.
All right. All right. Third time's a charm.
Engaging hostile target. Weapon systems locked on. My name is Optimus Prime. Fire!
Ooh.
Yeah, that's what happened.
It's 1870.
Okay, I'm gonna keep it up like this. I'm gonna hold it.
Yes.
One more time, guys.
All right.
Let's go.
Engaging hostile target. Weapon systems locked on. My name is Optimus Prime. Fire!
Mastermind music.
Creed is a warning. Dogma.
Incredible. Is there like a scene out here in the Bay where you all, the two of you, are involved in, like, is it a big flexing scene out here?
There's some involved out here, but we usually go to New York to compete and dance.
All right.
That's where it's at, and that's
so
where
it's kind of.
So that's where it originated. So that's where we wanted to take our style.
And who just did your choreography? Was amazing.
Just us.
Good job.
Woo! We've been dancing since we got off middle school, so like at the end of 8th grade. So we've been dancing together since we were teenagers, freshman high school, and we're still dancing together now. And we have a crew called Anglepots. So yeah, that's our style.
Thank you. And just one question in terms of the work with two people, like, is that like really, really common in the form that it would be?
Yeah, it definitely is. Especially
like
as far as like with flexing goes, like we do a lot of two-man, we do a lot of tag team.
So like mirroring and it's really incredible.
Yeah. And that's exactly what Dream is about. Like Dream, Dance, Everything Around Me. It's all about just the coming together of the community. It's also about teams. Like there's never like a one-on-one thing, but you see when they do one-on-one things, it looks crazy too. So, but it's really just about just to coming together and just making one.
It's pretty much getting together and putting your creativity together. I mean, there's a lot of people that do it, but we all have our different styles into how we do it. Right. So that's what makes each dancer different or each team different because of our styles. And for us, we do angles, so that's why we are Anglebots.
That's right.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, go ahead. Put it right there. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Yeah.
So we're going to move on to Keba Konte. And Keba's a visual artist from here in the Bay, but also a very, very innovative entrepreneur. I think probably more than half of this audience drank his amazing coffee. That is Red Bay Coffee, his own company, that he's working on these issues of justice and equity through coffee as well. So let's take a look at his video.
My name is Keba Konte. I'm an artist, a coffee roaster, an entrepreneur, a family man. And we're sitting here in my home in beautiful Oakland, California, the United States, planet Earth. Welcome. Well, the first neighborhood I was born into was the Haight-Ashbury of San Francisco. My mother was a photographer. My father was a carpenter. And it was a really interesting, colorful time. In many ways, we just felt like we were at the heart of a cultural and political revolution. I had that entrepreneurial spirit and creative spirit when I was pretty young. Heard the message that you can do what you want to do, go after your dreams, and a life is just not really full if you're not really pursuing, the different components of yourself. With artwork, the more work I did, the more I showed, the price goes up. And as your price goes up, there are less people who can afford your artwork. Coffee, even the very best coffee, is a pretty affordable luxury. So I think it's really democratizing like that. What I really saw missing out there was a brand that had some more soul to it, a little more flavor socially.
Wow, thank you. Keba, come join us.
Thank you.
So, Keba, I guess as an artist, we always have this kind of tension between our work and our jobs. And I was sharing with you earlier that when my kids were growing up, and there'd be a meeting in their school at night, and I was in rehearsal, and I'd say, I have a rehearsal that night, I can't come. Could we make it on on Monday? And then people would just look at oh, well, it's a play, like playing, right? But when I started learning to say, okay, I have a job from, the 7 to 11 shift, then they'd be like, oh, she works in a convenience store. We better change the night, right? Yeah. They wouldn't take being an artist seriously. And so, I think for you, it's really interesting because many of us have our work and we have our job. And your work and your job are kind of informing each other, your creative practice and your entrepreneurial practice. As well, you're creating jobs for other people. So I really want to hear about, what led you to that and how it's going.
Well, I want to just, first of all, thank you for the invitation to share works with you all. How did it all begin? I think I realized pretty early on that I was fairly unemployable. I was born and raised in San Francisco. I've had more jobs than you can possibly imagine, from petty cab driver on Fisherman's Wharf to all sorts of stuff. Really, working at restaurants and security guards and the whole nine. But while I was in college, I left college to pursue my photography career, doing music photography and travel photography, and then that merged into doing sort of photo-based mixed media. So really, my artwork as an independent photographer and as an artist, my art was my job, and really committed to myself that I was going to just earn my living through my skills as a visual artist. So So, and as my own career and my art grew and it started to expand to more conceptual work, more public artwork, more community participatory artwork, and that was really, exciting. Had the opportunity to open a cafe in Berkeley called Guerrilla Cafe. And that was about 10 years ago. So it was really early on in the movement of specialty coffee. We were the first coffee shop to wholesale blue bottle coffee. So we got to really see this whole specialty coffee market emerge. But even opening the cafe was my own strategy on how it would be a gallery. So it was going to be an artist cafe, and I would just have shows all the time. And it didn't turn out to be like that. But I really got seduced into the whole world of coffee. The more I learned about it, the more I realized there was to learn about it. And even the cafe itself, the coffee shop business, what was really exciting was building a team and sourcing food from farmers. And I realized that, because early on I was always very deliberate about where I would spend my money, even if it's $1. If I didn't like the practices of one corner shop, I'd go to the next one. So I was always very conscientious of, and understood the power of our spending. So when I had the, platform to spend for a business, and you kind of add a zero or two to what you normally personally spend, that was very empowering. Then I could go to Fresno and meet black farmers to buy products for that, or the bakery, or wherever. So that was really a powerful experience. And even in the specialty coffee scene, what I found was it was very homogenous, very white, unapologetically so. And so I thought really that was an opportunity to build a really diverse, interesting team of beautiful, young, creative people to come baristas and really execute on a very high level a very refined product like coffee. And so that's kind of how I got into it.
I'm originally from Hawaii, and so part of my family, my uncle in Hawaii, comes from coffee farming roots, grew up on a coffee farm, and now is in his 80s, but still collectively with, that Holualoa area, those old family farmers farm their coffee together, mill it together, things like that. So, yeah, I've had to participate in every aspect of coffee harvest and processing.
Yes.
So we're going to turn it over now to actually some questions from our audience. And there are two people who have, Jen and Nina are helping us out. So please raise your hands with questions or comments that you may have that have come up for you with our really wonderful roundtable here. And I don't know, while we're waiting for their questions, was there questions that you all wanted to follow up with each other? Because this is an extraordinary group.
I want to just say maybe a question or comment around flexing. And I grew up in San Francisco, and we'd be at Pier 39 at Fisherman's Wharf, where, the young brothers in my neighborhood would go on the weekends. That's where they would go to dance and make money. And, it was either, before even breaking, it was like strutting and, robot and, vibrating and all these wild moves that, but really what I, and also as an athlete, my athletic background, my own self, what I'm noticing most about the flexing movement is that I have not seen in a lot of these previous things is the pairing up and the participatory, where really their bodies become one, right? A lot of times it's like this tag team. Yeah. That's been the kind of traditional way.
Exactly.
And I don't know if you could really elaborate on that as a phenomenon. I don't know if is that something that is a real thing?
Yeah, it's something that like that we do like on a regular basis, honestly. And because, like I said, when we danced on this show called Flex in Brooklyn, it was all about teamwork, and it was all about you being the best. Well, you and your team being the best that you can be. So we kind of like created this thing where we always had a fusion together, like, and that comes from like, let's say the Matrix. You guys have seen the Matrix before, right? Where like the two twins. And they kind of fuse together almost, and it's like that's kind of like where we have the idea of just fusing together to make like a one-body team. So we make this one-body team, or somebody like Goro from Mortal Kombat, when he has like 4 arms. It's all like just a creative process of trying to be one instead of being separate. Yeah. So it's just that's just how.
And
it
it's
is.
coming out of like film, art, technology.
Yeah, a lot of it has to do with like film, like just honestly like the Drunken Master. The Matrix, Equilibrium, like these, because back in the day, like we didn't have, we'll put it in the streets, we didn't have a whole bunch of money to be getting strings and wires and stuff like that. So you have to find a way on your own to make those strings and wires happen without having the strings and wires. Yeah. So we would just like pick each other up and maybe do something on the side and just hide ourselves or try to do certain different things to make that reality happen on stage. So that's like where the whole mental came from. Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how to do these two-man routines.
Yeah, I appreciate that about
Thank you. I really appreciate it too. Thank you.
Do we have a question out there? Right here? Can you hand?
I can talk loud.
Okay, I think they need it for the live stream, yeah.
We can hear you.
This is a question for Malesha. I'm going to ask you the same question you asked Heian about feeling, do you ever feel the need to educate, or what I ask because I have my own issues around that. So I'm curious how you handle those moments of when do I not, how do I not. Sometimes I'm not nice about it. And those difficult conversations are necessary, I feel, and I definitely have those difficult conversations more so now than I have in the past. But sometimes the difficulty is within me. Like I feel the struggle is real within me to have to talk to you about this. So.
Right. Yes, the struggle is within me first to find language, especially with this blog I wrote, the 40 edits. I sent it to several people, got their feedback, changed the words around. I was really militant at first. I was really abrasive. Even when I sent it in, they said, you have to take out the entire introduction. You sound sarcastic. So the war within me is, first, I have to see with the eye of compassion where someone's perspective is coming from, that we are not on the same level all the time. We are not always together, anywhere in society. We are not seeing at the same level every time we do anything. So I have to first see that you don't see something that I see. And then I have to evaluate and start from there. And if it's necessary, I will, in a group effort usually, make a statement. But very rarely and I would love the opportunity, very rarely have I been direct with somebody, one-on-one. And if I am, it's going to be more about I statements and saying, I felt this way, and just stating my truth from me, instead of directing it as, you did this to me, because that creates separation. And my goal always is community and together and one. So we were talking about oneness. So as an artist, I am looking for places to bring oneness. And as a human being, I'm looking for oneness. So I have to start first in myself from compassion, seeing multiple perspectives.
That's right.
And informing from those perspectives. So yes, beautiful. It is a challenge.
Yep.
Thank you for your question.
There's a question right here. Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, this question is for Keba.
Yes.
I heard about you actually through my homie Rolando Brown.
Yes.
I think he was working on your Kickstarter campaign.
I saw you made your Kickstarter goal.
Yes, we sure did.
Okay.
And beyond.
Congratulations.
But,
That's what I was wondering
Yeah.
about. Well, two questions I have for you is it sounded like a great idea in terms of a coffee shop sharing the profits and sharing kind of the ownership. So I would love to know more about that. And also I was curious about why the Artist Cafe idea didn't work out.
It did work out.
Oh, it did.
Oh, it did. It worked out
like
well.
in terms of having galleries and showings. And
Okay. So it's more like I just got more Guerrilla Cafe. I got more interested in running the cafe and curating other artists. It sounded like a good idea at the time because I was just always looking for platforms to share and to move my work. But once you get a platform like that, I'm just the type that do want to share the wealth. So, so we invited more artists to participate, over the probably 10 years. I maybe had 2 or 3 shows there. But yeah, so it worked out well. And, and I continue to exhibit my work around. Rolando Brown is a dear and brilliant brother whose the success of our Kickstarter campaign was, in a big way due to his brilliant strategies and work. So the idea with the Kickstarter though was thinking about. So now I live in Oakland. Oakland is one of these fast-growing, developing cities where gentrification and housing crisis is very real, and whatever I do, I have to ask why I'm doing this, what impact will it make on my family and on my community, and what do we really need another coffee shop, and how can I create a coffee shop that can have a greater impact. When the beautiful people at Impact Hub Oakland invited a collaboration to do a Red Bay coffee shop there, it was a really great idea. The idea was I would put it in a shipping container, modified shipping container, put it right in the middle of this really vibrant development. And so it would, concept-wise, and this is kind of where the art comes in, right? So my art practice over the years is, always strive to first create something beautiful. As conceptual, as political, anything else art does, in my opinion, it has to still be beautiful, and it has to move you. So outside of that, I try to, you get extra points for illusion, right? When people scratching their head, like, how the hell did they do that? You get, extra points for community involvement. And in the making of those things and the achieving of those goals, it's a series of problem solving from the very beginning. How are we going to bring this concept into reality? How are you going to make it float on the wall and look like it's not attached to anything? How are you going to, all of these things. So it's problems. You're always problem solving. So that's, so those artistic practices have fed my art, my business in that way. So, at the same time, so how are we going to impact, transform low-wage jobs was sort of the challenge. So, right, it's a great location, beautiful little spot, and I knew, we would have a very diverse and inclusive staff. And what else? What else, Keba? How about if, half of our staff are formerly incarcerated, and really making opportunities and second chances for people who, not only, have a high barrier to get into this specialty coffee industry. Well, what else? Well, how about if we make it a livable wage? Well, it's, a coffee shop is a pretty, slim margin type of business. So how can we do that? When you open a brick and mortar business, there's a big upfront investment of capital. That capital is either going to come from a savings, a bank loan, or an investor. So all of those are going to still be on my back. So therefore, that entrepreneur who starts that business reaps the reward for the risk that they take. I mean, that's the kind of common get down. So, well, what if I didn't have to put up my own money or take a loan or take an investor? Then, so the idea was to crowdfund that money. It would take close to plus over $100,000 to do something like that. So I figured to do a Kickstarter to do that. And so the proposition was, okay, everybody, if everyone funds this, capitalizes this business, then I will turn over the profits to the workers. Red Bay Coffee, they will buy the coffee from Red Bay Coffee, so we'll still have a revenue stream, so it still makes business sense.
That's great.
And then it was like, well, how much do we raise? I need $100,000, but that's a lot of money. No one has ever raised more than $50,000 in any category of coffee whatsoever. So I went for $80,000. Everyone, including Rolando, talked me out of it. It was like, don't do it. Don't. That's too much. You won't hit it. And then, you could always ask for less and try to overshoot it. I'm like, I'm asking for 80, and I need to overshoot that to make it make sense. Or else I got to make it up with my money, and then we're back where we started. So, but I believed that what I was talking about was really what this moment and was the political tenor at the moment, right? About economic justice, about inclusion and diversity, and beautiful coffee. So I figured that people would get behind that concept, and they did. So we raised $87,000 and smashed all the records, and we built out this thing, and Oakland's trying to get it together to finish up my permit to let us finish up that. And so you'll see it in the next month or two give birth.
Well, that is I see hands up, but I'm so sorry. That's a wonderful note to end on. We have to meet our ending time today. But the conversation will continue. I just want to remind people that we'll begin at 12 noon tomorrow. That tonight is Grisha Coleman's performance here at YBCA. That is going to be absolutely amazing. Please wear your name tags tomorrow and tonight. And yeah, we'll continue to remap. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Y'all were amazing.
I'm going to share the stage with all of you.
I felt like a proud